The force is strong with this week's episode of My Hero Academia, and that's because Izuku Midoriya is being taught by Gran Torino, a former teacher from UA High School and the man who taught All Might everything he knows about how to be a hero. The reason that I say that the force is strong with this week's episode is that Gran Torino is essentially an homage to Jedi Master Yoda from the Star Wars film series. They have so much in common. They're tiny, they're short, they're old, they're wrinkly, they're incredibly goofy at first, and then reveal a super wise and super powered side that you never thought could have possibly existed. And Gran Torino certainly throws Izuku Midoriya through the ringer in this week's episode. We only go through one day of training, yet Izuku Midoriya manages to learn quite a bit. And in typical anime fashion, he always learns the secret to using the All Might abilities through some sort of ridiculous way, such as microwaving some taiyaki, which are some delicious fish-shaped Japanese treats. Before I talk any more about the training between Izuku Midoriya and Gran Torino, let's talk about some of the other characters who are also hanging out with their heroes who are training them how to be proper, good heroes, and basically trying to prep them up and build up their weaknesses so that they can become true, competent heroes, whether that be just their manners, utilizing their abilities, or just walking the streets and acting like a big, tough hero. First and foremost, we have Tenya Ida, and I've said this many times in the past, but I love his hero costume. It looks so incredibly badass, and he's being trained by this one hero who doesn't really seem all that flashy, but it just so happens that Tenya Ida is in the same part of town where his brother was assaulted by the hero killer Stain. So he's trying to keep a quick eye and trying to see if he can actually find this guy come out from the shadows, almost as if he is trying to get revenge for his brother, which I honestly think is probably not going to be a great idea, considering that hero killer Stain is pretty freaking insane. And there's even a small scene where he is picked up by Kurogiri and Tomura Shigaraki, and they're basically trying to bring Stain into their ranks, but Stain doesn't really seem too all excited about joining the League of Villains. A lot of that having to do with the fact that he doesn't like Shigaraki at all. He doesn't like the fact that he's trying to do all of this stuff without any sort of conviction, and even goes as far as to pulling out his blades, getting ready to battle Tomura, which I honestly think would be a pretty cool concept in itself. I honestly can't wait to see how they're going to bring him into the League of Villains, and we might even get to see more of that in next week's episode if the preview is any indication. Like I said though, the rest of the episode basically just follows the other heroes. I did think it was really funny that both Kirishima and Tetsu are going to be teamed up together, because not only are their quirks very similar, but they also have these like outfits which look damn near identical to each other. And they're being trained by this guy whose name is Fourth Kind, who has two giant-like arms underneath his regular arms. He's a four-armed Goro man from Mortal Kombat, and he looks like he's gonna be really damn tough. You also have Ochako, who is being trained by Gunhead, who, despite the fact that he has a really hardcore, super awesome appearance, is very soft-spoken, and according to Ochako, is kind of cute in the way he talks, and I thought that was pretty funny. You also have Blue Genist, who is that weird guy whose body is covered in, like, denim, and he's the one who's actually going to be training Katsuki Bakugo, and this was a really surprising thing for me. I didn't imagine a hero like him would be the one who would be training Katsuki, but he's doing this because he's trying to get that dude to calm the fuck down. Katsuki is just constantly pissed about every little thing. I don't think we've ever seen a moment in the series where he's just been calm and collected. But Blue Genist is going to do everything in his power to actually sort of ring him in, reel him in, and not make him such like a crazy villain-esque hero. He even goes as far as to actually tying him up with his denim, which I guess is his main abilities, being able to sort of unravel all of the things that he's wearing and utilize it as a weapon. There's also another brand new hero who is introduced in this episode who goes by the name, I believe, Uowami, who is this one woman who has these snakes and cobras in her hair, and she's actually decided to take on both the characters of Momo and Itsuka, and we finally get to see her in her hero costume, and it seems like the only reason that she's decided to actually bring these students in under her is because she thinks that they're really cute. And then, of course, there's Mineta, who seems like he has, like, the dream person to teach him, which is the giant lady, but she's basically there just to make him do all the chores. She seems like that type of character, though. She comes across as just someone who's just looking for all of the glory without having to do all that much. And of course, there's a ton of other awesome scenes with the characters working with their respective teachers and everything, but let's talk about Izuku Midoriya and Gran Torino. Now, it was pretty obvious from last week's episode that Gran Torino was not actually dead. He was sitting like in a pool of what was supposedly his blood. Basically, he was just eating some sausages and some ketchup. And he comes across as this like really senile old man at first, basically constantly wondering, who is this kid? Are you Toshinori? What the hell's going on? Until eventually he starts to get serious and asks Izuku to use his All Might abilities against him. And this is when Gran Torino starts just like flying all over the room, dodging and ducking and flying all over the place with his ability, which is known as Jet. They don't talk about it outright, but during the midway title sequence, you actually get to see that his abilities are known as Jet, and he can sort of like propel himself with this force that comes from his feet. All of this air just shoots out and allows him to move at like extremely high speeds and apparently be very strong all at the same time. Like I said, very much like Yoda, he's very small, but he can move around really damn quick, and basically he beats the hell out of Izuku and decides, you know what, you're gonna stay here, think about what's been happening here, clean up a little bit, I'm gonna go get some food. Eventually, Gran Torino does return, but he immediately just goes to bed, leaving Izuku to sort of brew about his one-for-all abilities, and that's when he decides to go outside and start testing them, where he goes out into this alleyway, and he tries to utilize the one-for-all abilities to sort of, like, jump across these walls and do these wall jumps a la Super Mario, but he just ends up face-planting constantly, and the next morning you can see he is completely defeated, and that's when they start to have breakfast, and they have these delicious little treats which are called taiyaki, which are really awesome, by the way. It's something that I've actually had. It's basically like these, like, waffle fish, which are filled with, like, red azuki paste. They're really damn delicious, and you can microwave them, and they decide to do that, but they're really, really cold at first, and the main reason for this is because the plate wasn't able to spin in the microwave, and thus there wasn't able to be proper heat throughout the entire thing. This is when the light bulb finally goes off in Izuku's head, and he realizes that instead of using the one-for-all ability to power just a specific part of his body, if he allows it to flow through his entire form, he'll have much better control over this, and that's actually what he allows himself to do, and you can see the power just sort of coursing throughout his entire body when finally it goes right up to his face, and I love that you can, like, see the power form like an X across his face, and he's finally powered up, ready to use his abilities as he prepares to fight Gran Torino, and then the episode ends. I really wanted to see more of this. I'm sure we are in the next episode, but the preview makes it seem like the next big arc is going to kick into full gear. It even looks like it's going to go as far as actually Tenya Ida meeting Hero Killer Stain, or maybe even having a chance encounter with Tomura Shigaraki. It's going to be really exciting, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the brand new intro and even the brand new ending of this week's episode. But first, what's the rundown on this week's episode of My Hero Academia? Gran Torino was awesome. Like I said, he basically is Master Yoda, and that's not really much of a surprise, as the creator of the series has made it very clear he's a huge fan of Star Wars, and getting to see him in action in this episode was certainly one hell of a treat, and honestly, I think one of the best things about this week's episode. There's a lot of things in this episode, too, that are slightly hinted at, like the fact that apparently the 7th person who used the one-for-all abilities, the one who came right before All Might, apparently met their demise in a really weird way, in a way so much that All Might has not actually talked about it, and Gran Torino is kind of shocked that even Izuku doesn't know about the circumstances behind that. I'm sure there's going to be one hell of a revelation about that in the future. Gran Torino, again, is just a really fun character. Most of the episode is played for laughs for how incredibly senile he can be, but just like Master Yoda in the Star Wars films, I think he's doing this to sort of test his hero. This is very much like a play on Yoda teaching Luke to use the Force. It's very similar, and honestly, as a huge Star Wars fan, I can really appreciate that. It was also really cool that Izuku has finally decided to utilize the one-for-all abilities in a way that we've never seen before, allowing it to course through his entire body. This is something that's actually been hinted at in some of the intros and even some of the beginnings of some of the episodes, when you get to see him discussing how he became the greatest hero of all time. And honestly, it looks cool, and it's even better now because he actually has a brand new hero costume, which has been slightly updated and looks really awesome. It still seems to have the weird, ridiculous rabbit ears in the hood behind him, but he never puts it on, but he's got like this brand new mask that he can wear. It looks like it's a little more sturdy, made out of better material, and for lack of better words, it just looks a lot more badass. I really do love it, and I especially love the green color scheme. It kind of reminds me of Kick-Ass a little bit, but honestly, I'm okay with it because, again, this is a superhero series which loves to pay homage to a lot of classic different series. And then there's the brand new intro and the brand new ending. The intro itself, I think, is very serviceable. I don't like the song as much as I liked the last one, but I do love the imagery a lot, especially just getting to see all of the characters in their hero costumes and acting like heroes themselves, running through the streets, going through alleyways, fighting villains. It's just some really impressive stuff. I love that they include Gran Torino in there, as well as Hero Killer Stain, letting us know that the stakes are going to be raised with some brand new villains. The ending is something else entirely. I almost don't even know what to make of it. It's sort of like a what-if scenario where they take a lot of the classic characters and they insert them into this, like, fantasy RPG-like world. They sort of give it, like, this, like, Lord of the Rings-esque twist where you get to see the characters going on a journey as fantasy characters, with Izuku Midoriya being the grand adventurer, Tenya Ida being the knight, Ochako being the mage, and Shoto being this, like, grand prince, and of course, Katsuki Bakugo being a barbarian. But you also get to see a lot of the other characters who are playing up in these tropes as well, and it's the type of ending that you actually kind of want to watch a couple of times just to notice all the fun little details. I don't know if this is actually going to correspond to some sort of arc in the series, but if it does, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and even if it isn't, hell, it's a lot of really fun imagery to look at, especially the final scene with Izuku Midoriya seemingly using some sort of sword, and behind him you can see this giant energy version of All Might as he's swinging the sword as well. It looks really awesome. And this week's episode was, of course, pretty freaking great. I loved it. It was a great training episode and an introduction to a couple of new characters, and Gran Torino was really awesome. As a fan of Star Wars, I can definitely see a lot of Master Yoda in him, and that definitely made this one hell of a great episode, which had some laughs, it had some action, it had some intrigue, it had some villains. This was sort of a full package of My Hero Academia, and that's the main reason to check it out. So I'm going to give this week's episode a solid 5 out of 5. Check it out, My Hero Academia fans. Make sure to tell me what you guys thought about it in the comments section below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. And make sure to tell me what you thought of the brand new character of Gran Torino and what you hope to see from the next upcoming arc of the series. Thank you guys for watching this review. Again, make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things My Hero Academia anime related. As I said, please leave me a comment telling me what you thought about the episode or any other thoughts you had or what you hope to see in the future. And of course, make sure to use your quirk superhero ability to hit that like button. It helps out our videos a lot. I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and as always, stay damn down, baby.